Reza, thank you so much for joining me on Pop Therapy today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for this delicious drink. We're not sponsored by Starbucks today, but we should be.
We should be.
We're actually sponsored by Reza Jackson. We took a little stroll before we started rolling and you shouted me a chai latte. So I'm very grateful.
Mm-hmm.
So if you hear a little rattling, that's what that is.
Let's just make this like a culture. Like every time something juicy comes up,
Love it.
like drum roll.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, get ready to ring that a lot. But what I really like to do is kind of find out a little bit about like who the person is behind the persona that we see on the TV. And like anybody can Google you and like find out some dot points about like where you were born and like where you grew up. But like I'd love to hear in your words a little bit about the story of little Reza before he became the Valley Persian Style Reza that we know and love today.
Not like little Reza, like up until the age of 8, or like little Reza, like until 2 months ago.
Look, yeah, good point. Okay, look,
Just clarification.
Okay, just to clarify, I mean the little
I'm
boy.
not so little. Okay, I don't know which camera to look at, but I'm not little. 5'8.5".
There you go. Excellent. It's a perfect height.
Thank you. I needed to hear that.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to know a little bit about like when were you born in Iran and then moved to Canada?
Yeah, so the story is I was born in Iran in 1989. And at the age of 7 or 8, something along those lines, I was in grade 1. My parents had been trying to get a visa to the States because all my family lives here and mostly in San Jose. Okay. But we got our Canadian visa first.
Yeah.
So my dad's like, we just need to get out of here.
Yeah.
And so we left to Canada, and I grew up there as a little kid. I remember this very vividly, but it was like 7 or 8, like a few months moving to Canada, and like we were broke back then, and so were most immigrants. We weren't like the rich ones that moved because we had a lot of money. My dad and mom had to learn a new language. My dad went from being an engineer to delivering pizza for like $1 an hour.
Wow.
But like proud. Not a single look of shame on his face. But the story was that I remember eating korma sabzi, which is a Persian dish. I don't know how familiar you are with Persian dishes.
A little bit.
Korma sabzi is the green stew.
Okay, beautiful.
Like back then, like as a kid, you look at it, you're like, ew, what is that?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
But it smells. So like you eat that, and for 24 hours, your whole body smells like korma sabzi.
Okay.
And so all the little kids would make fun of me, and all like the Canadians, whatever, had peanut butter and jam. And so I remember being so embarrassed in that moment. Yeah. But fast forward, 15 years in college where I got Persianified, let's say. Okay. Because I went back to Iran after high school. Up until high school, like end of high school, I was pretty like quote unquote whitewashed.
Okay.
I didn't have that many Persian friends. There were a few, but then I went to Iran and I came back. And when I came to college, I'm like, damn right, I'm Persian. I love the food. I love the girls. I love the music. Wow. I love the culture. I love everything. And so I remember going to the cafeteria in college university with the same dish, but like proud, opening it up, letting everybody smell it. Yeah. And that was kind of like a full circle moment of like what it felt like day one to, 18, 19 years old.
Yeah, incredible.
Follow-up to that, so from university, it was in Vancouver. The university was called the University of British Columbia. And then I moved to Toronto for a job, which was in sales, and I had that job until a few months ago. Okay. And I started creating content maybe 4 years in, around like my late 20s, 26, 27. I'm 36 now. And we got our passport or green card, and I was like, I need to move to the States. And the goal was to always move to New York.
Okay.
And then COVID hit, and we were like, do I want to go to New York? Like, I've always wanted to end up in LA. Yeah. And so 2 years after COVID, ended up moving to LA.
Wow.
And been doing content for like almost 7-8 years now, which I think altogether led to this moment of being in the Valley.
So where were you actually during COVID? Were you...
Well, what do you consider the COVID period?
Well, yeah, true. All those lockdown periods
Toronto.
of like, you were in Toronto, okay. Did you have as strict kind of lockdowns as we did?
Toronto was the most strict city in the world.
Really?
But we had the most fun during COVID.
Oh,
Those were my funnest years.
really?
Yes.
Oh my God, mine were not. We were locked down horrifically in Melbourne. It was like you could not go within further than 5 kilometres from your own home, and you couldn't walk. Like my dad lived 7 kilometres from my house, so we had to meet somewhere where there was like an overlap, where it was like the
And
edge
you guys
of.
had like apps or something, right?
We had apps. We had
That
it was
would like alert the
Yes.
authorities if you were going outside of that 5
I don't know
range.
if it alerted to that, but we had like a running tally of like how many people were unwell in each, suburb, and it was just like living in a completely bizarre. Like how is that real? When I think back to that time, it was crazy.
I had so much fun. I mean, like we rented a place in Montreal. This wasn't like in March, and it was funny because it was the reason why I have such fond memories of that period was that it was March 2020 when we were locked down that I started to do video content.
Right.
That is the
okay.
reason why I think I'm here where I am is because of that moment, and that's when things really started to like pick up.
Wow.
Because I was locked down, I was like, okay, 3 videos a day, every single day, no questions asked.
Wow,
You
really?
have no time, like you have nothing else to
Yeah.
do but to create content. But then we lived in downtown Toronto, so all my friends would come over and we'd throw like parties in my house.
Naughty, naughty.
Hey, we were abiding by the kilometer rule.
Yeah.
The proximity was just.
Yeah, that was the problem. Okay. Wow. Okay. So then after COVID, you moved to LA.
Mm-hmm.
And did you connect in with the Persian community here? Did you have friends already here, family?
Yeah, I mean, I have a little family. Like I have my cousin here and my aunt and my other cousins there in OC, but I guess it's pretty much LA. And then I had my best friend from Vancouver
Okay.
who lived in LA.
Okay.
And he's still my best friend. And so I think that was like that's the biggest secret. If you want to move anywhere and feel like home, bring your best friend with you.
Yeah, absolutely. What an adventure to do it together,
And he'd already been there for like 2 years.
Oh, wow.
So like he already kind of knew the ins and outs. And
Yes.
so he hooked it up. And I think naturally we just built a group of Persian friends and non-Persian friends. But
Yeah.
I'm pretty Persian. So.
Okay. But that must have been so special for your parents to see you going from, like, as you were saying, like a pretty whitewashed existence growing up and sort of ignoring your culture and identity and then claiming it so proudly. Because, like, I often talk about the most impressive thing about your show is that it feels like the Persian culture in Iran is an entire main character of its own. And I love that, like so much about the food and the culture and everything is like right up front. Everybody's speaking Farsi and in and out of English and Farsi, and everything is kind of explaining another tradition and culture. And I don't think there are any other shows that do that, that rejoice in their cultural identity the same way that your show does. So I imagine that's pretty special for your parents to see as well.
Yeah, I mean, to clarify, like growing up, I was always like at my house, I only spoke Farsi with my parents.
Okay.
And I still love the food.
Yeah.
Just like public is not the right word, but just like outside of my home,
Yes.
there was limited exposure to like Persian culture. And that changed because I changed in college.
Yeah.
But to your point, what I love about this show and why I like participating in this activity is I think, and it's at a very good time, I think, for Iranian people and what's happening, to put Iranians on the main stage. And it's funny, I was thinking of sharing this story with you because it happened this morning, and I was like, I'll just wait till she asks. So this is the perfect time. This lady sent me, speaking of DMs, this lady sent me, because there's some that are not so kosher, but
I'm sure.
she sent me like this beautiful long message of like, thank you for like, you know, being on this show and, you know, representing the community. And then she's like, yeah, I babysit these kids that are Persian. And since the show came out, they've watched every episode because they're like, look, Mom, we're on TV.
Wow.
Which to me was like, whoa.
Beautiful.
Like younger generations of like Persian kids are now seeing that and thinking like, oh, there's a place for us in on TV, Hollywood, whatever. And so I think there's like a bigger mission behind all the Sky drama.
Yes. But I think that's so important because, you know, we know that representation matters and people need to see themselves on TV and in, you know, pop culture, to know that they're important and that, you know, they have people to look up to and that are just like them in every, you know, culture and minority and whatever. So I think that's incredible. And I think you all do a beautiful job of that. Yeah.
And the editors, I mean, like the way it came out where they put Farsi, like obviously Shaw's did that for me as a kid growing up. That's why I like that show. Like whenever I said I'm like, here's the thing, in LA, Vancouver, Toronto, there's a lot of Persians. And so other people that are non-Persian are familiar with the Persian culture. But then you go somewhere like, I don't know, Texas or somewhere random, right? Like Middle America, like Persian culture isn't that prevalent. But whenever I remember them knowing about Persian culture, they'd be like, oh, like the Shahs.
Yes.
And so Shahs to me is what this show is to those little kids that are watching that. Whose nanny messaged me today.
Yeah, incredible. I mean, that, you know, has to be probably the best thing to come out of all of it.
It was better than any new I've received.
But don't stop sending them. They're still welcome.
Everyone's welcome.
So a little cultural question. Is there any difference for you in the terms Iranian and Persian?
It's so funny you asked this question because I was like, I was kind of like, okay, if she asks that, because no one has ever asked, but for some reason my gut told me that you need to dive into this.
We're in tune.
And I was like, should I do research? Honestly, it's kind of a complicated answer, I think, and I don't want to give the wrong answer.
Okay.
Because from my understanding, Iran is the country Iran. Persian represents Persian Empire, which could mean that like there could be non-Iranian Persians, but I don't know exactly.
Okay, gotcha. Yep.
So someone can be from Afghanistan, I think, and be Persian, like heritage-wise. Okay. But the way that I refer it is just synonymous to being from Iran.
Okay. Yeah.
But the actual definition, we can Wikipedia that.
Well, I think that's really interesting because I met somebody in Melbourne who was from Iran, and of course I was like, "Oh my God, do you watch this show? It's so good." And she's like, "Oh yes, I know about those Persians in LA, and it's very different to like the Iranians that I know." And I was like, "Oh, what does that mean?"
I don't think she meant anything by that.
Yeah, so maybe it's just she just means like, you know, there's a bit of a glitz and a glam, and the TV show's probably a little bit different to maybe the people that are hanging out in her family. I don't know.
Probably. Yeah. I think it's like Persian to me was just like a sexier way to say like, it kind of rolls off the tongue better.
It does.
I'm Iranian or I'm Persian.
And it conjures up like luxurious, sexy, like I totally get it. Yeah.
Like the cat.
Yeah. I'm a dog person myself.
Me
but
too.
Listen. Okay, so growing up, you weren't just a little boy from
You keep saying
Iran.
little.
Okay, we need to do some therapy on this, Reza. Okay, we need to love ourselves from within.
No matter how small we are.
So, you know, you were growing up in Canada, but you also were doing some incredible impressions and moves like your favorite star of all time, Michael Jackson. And in fact, you go by the name Reza Jackson.
Correct.
Tell us about that.
Woo! Great timing. Michael Jackson. I mean, I've been dancing like him since I was 5 years old.
Yeah.
And I've told this story a few times, but back in Iran, like, not everybody had a VHS player, and so we had this like kind of like richer uncle who would like get the Michael Jackson music videos, and we'd watch it together like a music video, like a movie.
Yeah.
And I remember They Don't Care About Us, which is so relevant right now. Came out, the one filmed in Brazil.
Yeah.
And we all had sat down across, the living room and watched that. And I remember it was then that I started dancing like him. And ever since then, Reza Jackson was born when Facebook was born.
Okay.
And I remember this because I was in grade 12. And we had to come up with our usernames.
Okay.
And so that's where Reza Jackson actually became like quote unquote official.
Wow.
But I started taking this like Michael Jackson impersonation seriously. Like me and my dad, back in the day, there was an Amazon where you can order a Billie Jean outfit.
Totally.
We would hand sew.
Wow.
Like the Billie Jean sequin set with like the silver armband. My dad created these like silver socks.
Wow.
I remember for one performance, how well do you know Michael Jackson?
Very well.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know The Way You Make Me Feel? Where he has the shadow backdrop?
Yep.
And the lights from behind and then he goes through it?
Yep.
My dad made one of those.
Wow.
For like performing. And so like towards the end of high school, I was working at a store called Bang On. I don't know, do you know Vancouver well?
No.
Robson and Burrard is like, I don't know, their Melrose, like it's a very central spot, and there's a store there. Actually, it was beside Virgin Records. Virgin Records, is that what it's called? I mean, it's not there anymore, but it's a big...
That was the big record store of the time kind of thing.
Yeah. And so I used to dance in front of that store for a few years. From that, I got into like a Ford commercial, and then I started performing, and like this guy flew me to Edmonton in a limousine to dance for his like girlfriend's birthday. And I was like, mind you, like 17, 18.
Wow.
And yeah, that was like the highlight of my
Wow, that's incredible.
Reza Jackson dancing career.
Yeah. And so what would be your favorite dance or song? Would you do like a mix of different songs and performances, or
back then or right now?
Back then.
My favorite sequence is the way you make me feel combined with Dangerous. I think it was at the 1995 MTV Music Awards performance.
Okay.
Where it's with the backdrop, with the blue shirts.
Yep.
Hey, pretty lady. And then the guns.
Yes.
And then he changes into a suit.
Yes.
The girl was bad.
It's all coming back to me.
Yes.
I can see it on the stage. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then black or white, I think, was after Dangerous.
Yep.
So that was my favorite set.
See, like it all comes back to me. So I grew up in the 80s and the 90s as well. And, you know, MJ was everything. You know, we all like looked at him like a hero. He was incredible. But, you know, a lot of things have come out about our man.
Let's go.
And yeah, big swish. I have a friend in particular that was, you know, probably like you, like the biggest Michael Jackson fan on this earth. And we've had a lot of conversations about like, what do you do with all of that love when you actually sort of believe the victims, right? How do you separate the music from the man? And if he is indeed guilty of the things that people have accused him of, you know, does that mean we stop listening to the music? Does that mean we stop talking about him? Or, you know, is it that we don't want to like pay to go and see the musical or the movie that's coming out about him because we don't want to, you know, ignore the other things and not believe the victim? So it's been like a really complicated question for a lot of us. Like, what do you do when things look the way that they do? So what are your thoughts on all of this?
I mean, you're asking the wrong guy. Like, never thought he was guilty to begin with. So that thought like never came to my mind of choosing between like the allegations or the performer. Okay. I've always thought he was, you know, innocent. And I never had to make that kind of decision. So I can't answer that question. But I don't know. I think to me, and obviously there's a little bit of a bias because I'm like a huge fan. So like, I guess take it with a grain of salt, but it's the more like the real perpetrators like Diddy, Epstein, etc., R. Kelly are now coming to the surface, and you see how much surmounting evidence there is and how many victims there are claiming the exact same thing. It starts, you know, unfolding or like delegitimizing the case against Michael Jackson just purely from a stats and numbers perspective. And so, and this is something that like I intrinsically knew my whole life because I love him, so that plays a role. But even with like the recent Epstein files where they found that he was actually taking kids away from the Epstein Island to bring them to Neverland Ranch where they're safe. And there's records of thousands and thousands of kids that have gone there and have had nothing but nice things to say. And so if we're going to take the account of two people who, by the way, when they made the documentary, were suing the Neverland Ranch for like $1 billion or something. So the success of selling that story equated to money, which should always make you question the validity of that document or whatever they created. And I think it's because their stories are compelling and it is sad, and we shouldn't discount that if it's real, especially for victims that have actually experienced that. And so I think often what I hear is like, oh, I believe them because it seems really real. Those are real emotions. And I don't want to take that away from them. But there's also so much evidence proving that he didn't do it. And so why are we just emotionally taking two stories and ignoring? There was like a surveillance on his house for like 10 years and they didn't find one thing. He went to court and got acquitted on all the charges.
Yeah, but so did O.J. Simpson.
Yes,
just saying,
but I'm just saying, comparing it to Epstein, comparing it to Diddy, comparing it to R. Kelly, that's clear. This is clear. It's probably not.
Yeah, I mean, I take your point, but I also wonder if there are other people that potentially could have been paid off, and you know, maybe there are different degrees of this behavior, and clearly like an Epstein and a Diddy are like at the most horrific end of the spectrum where their victims are countless. You know, is it also possible that there are some victims?
I don't think so.
But you don't think so?
No.
Yeah.
You want to go? Let's go.
Okay. No, I mean, you know, I'm glad you've got your opinion. Everyone will have their own opinion, and we're just here to talk about it, not to solve it. But I do think it's an interesting point that, you know, there seems to be a lot more coming out. Like I saw a preview for the MJ movie coming out. Have you seen the preview yet? Like it looks amazing. Yeah. It looks so good. And I don't know if they've used AI, but like the little kid in it looks so much like him as a young boy.
I think they're all actors.
Yeah, but I reckon, you know, they've used a little bit of AI to make it even more real. Like it looks so much like him. It's incredible.
And his nephew playing the role is Reza Jackson?
I'm not sure. It is.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He's like, because the casting for that was insane. Trying to figure out the right guy, and it's like his nephew who like sounds like him, moves like him.
Amazing.
So, and there's a second one coming out.
Really?
Yes.
Oh my God. Okay.
You see on all the posters, it says the story begins.
Okay.
And you only see it till bad era.
Okay.
So there's enough footage for there to be a second movie, and the guess is that Michael is the first one, Jackson is the second. That starts in Dangerous and then goes up to Invincible. And
okay. Well, it'll be interesting to see what they do with it, because it did seem to be like just all the good bits. And so I will be curious to see if they address, you know,
I hope they do,
some of the other stuff, and how they handle it would be interesting to see. Interesting. Okay, so you're a diehard fan and you're not moving away from that.
Absolutely not.
Okay, good to know.
Don't mess with me.
Okay.
You've hit a
okay, the pressure is off. Okay. Well, I will take this back to my friend, because she has really been grieving, honestly, like the loss of MJ in her world, and feeling like the right thing for her was to not listen to his music. And now she's sort of started to come back to, actually, you know what, like I can enjoy the music and not agree with behavior. And I don't know, it becomes a very philosophical question. Like, then what's the ethical line? Like, if you do think somebody's guilty of something, can you also give royalties to their estate? I don't know.
I mean, I would just invite her to, because I have friends that have the same perspective, that are like so gung-ho about him being guilty, because that storytelling from the two kids in the documentary is so compelling.
Yes.
Like, but then you get so blinded to hearing any other argument. So like, I invite her to just consider looking at all the other evidence to see where she sits on the decision of like, if guilt is here and innocence is here and Jeffrey Epstein is here, where does Michael sit?
Okay.
Because guaranteed, we all know it's not here.
Yeah.
I mean, right? You're saying it's not here. I'm saying it's here, but it could be somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
And I'm sure if she can go from here to somewhere closer to that innocent part, maybe not fully innocent, she'll have an easier time listening to his music.
Yeah. Okay, that's excellent advice.
Let me know how it goes.
I will share this link and we will report back.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to lighter topics. Okay.
This is the most intense, like more intense than any confessional I've had or seen.
I'm so sorry.
On the show. That's okay.
Woo! Okay, I love that, you know, that little breath that you do is very MJ as well.
The woo.
Woo!
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's in my blood.
It's intentional. Okay.
I'm a Jackson.
I love
Come
it.
on.
Yeah, you are.
I'm the Persian.
You are.
Persian.
Can you still be hired out to perform as Michael Jackson?
Is someone inquiring?
I'm sure there will be inquiries.
Resident Michael Jackson with a beard. I'm never shaving my beard, so
Okay.
it comes with the...
Maybe you can wear one of those, like, I don't know, masks. Or just, I don't know. Everyone will be dazzled by the
It's
moves,
okay.
right?
Michael Jackson would have had a beard in 2026, so let's just say modern version.
Okay, perfect. But name your price, put it out there. What do you need to get back out there doing birthday parties?
10K.
Oh,
that's cheap. Let me
That's
bring it
cheap.
up.
I think you need to bring it up.
I know,
You'll
50K.
Okay, 50K sounds good because
50K.
then otherwise you'll be too busy, honestly.
Yeah.
We can't have that.
But
We
that'd
need
be dope. It's like
It
flying
would
around
be.
the country doing
Yeah.
MJ. That's fun.
All right, let's put it
Okay,
out
50K.
there. Okay, 50.
5K discount if you
Okay.
use Yana's
Code Yana. Perfect. All right, we'll set that up. Do I get the commission?
You get, we'll give a 5% off.
Okay.
And then you get the other 5%. So 2,500.
Oh my
off.
God. Locked in. Okay, I will be like paying for a lot of promotion for this clip. Okay. All right. So moving on from MJ, I was going to ask you a little bit about how you kind of got into the Valley situation. Were you already friends with some of the cast organically?
Reza and Gomez.
Okay.
More so than the others.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Gigi did say she knew you for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So was it like an easy yes for you when that offer came around?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have loved to be on Shaw's before that. And so I
Okay.
think when the opportunity landed, and it landed through Reza, I mean, Reza reached out to me specifically, and it was the very beginning days of like building this out and the production company, and I don't even think Bravo was involved back then, but it was a big yes from the first call.
Okay.
Like, I've been waiting for your call,
Yeah.
Reza. Where have you been? I've been in LA for 4 years.
Exactly.
You call me now? What's up?
That's it. I'm
So,
ready. I am
yeah.
ready to go. Okay. And so, I said to you before that I feel like this is one of the best shows on Bravo, hands down. And I'm not saying that just because you're here.
Hold on. Say it one more time.
The Valley Persian Style is one of the best shows on Bravo.
Thank you.
And there is evidence of me already saying this. I have talked about this with other podcasters, all season. And I think it is so good for so many reasons. And the first reason, obviously, is what we talked about before with the culture being right up front. And I love that. And I also love that this seems to be the only cast where everyone is bringing real and authentic and dynamic conversation, storyline, and it just feels like there's not one person who feels weak on the show. Every single person serves a really good purpose. All of you new cast members are bringing so much to the table, like so much. Nobody is kind of hanging back. It feels like, we've got the girls like really showing up in terms of their marriages and like sharing things that you're just like, whoa, oh my God, like the camera's just started rolling. Are you sure you want to jump in there? And, you as the peacemaker is like the perfect, like grinning, holding the bags, and I want to talk about that peacemaker role in a minute. But every single person is just bringing so much to it. And does it feel like it's hard work, or does it feel like everybody, like this is just who everybody is and it's just flowing the way that we're seeing it?
I mean, now that I'm looking back at it, because a lot of the scenes, I'm not there. I wasn't there in Amir's house when he's talking to Natasha. I wasn't there at Greg's house when he's having the hard conversation with Tanny in, I think, episode 2.
Yeah.
And so it was just flowing at the time of filming.
Yeah.
But I guess I wasn't as exposed to some of, like, I was exposed to these like challenges. I kind of know the story arcs, but not to the level of depth as you see it.
Yeah.
So we're watching it together as an audience and as a cast member, unless you're them.
Yeah.
How deep they go. And I think, to your point, that's what makes this show, because no one's putting on not no one, but we're not putting on a show. They're just putting their lives in exhibit for people to see.
Yeah.
And I think, especially with the entire cast, I think the way Reza, Golnesa, Mers are showing up, Adam on the Valley versus Shaw's, is different in the
Yes.
sense that they're not here flexing their really rich, cool lifestyle.
Yes.
Like, yo, I don't have money and my
Yeah.
credit sucks.
Yeah, and I've got to work
Right.
and I've got to like hustle.
Yeah,
to,
Maris is like, I need
Yeah.
this. You're not trying to flex, and I think
Yes.
that was very successful because I would imagine, you know, it'll be harder for them to detach from the persona that they once held
Yeah.
very strong, and then the new cast. What's wonderful about that is that everyone's new and we have no idea what to do.
Yeah.
And so the rule of thumb is just be yourself, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I can't speak for everybody, but I think that's what makes this show great because they
Yes.
put all their cards on the table.
Totally. And you do, there's some beautiful scenes with you as the peacemaker between...
Very successful peacemaker.
Yes. Might need to work on those skills.
Yeah.
But I was interested that you said, you know, it's a role that's familiar to you from
Mm-hmm.
your personal life. So how often have you played that role in your family life?
I mean, not only family life, but my friends. I mean, I was just sending a bunch of memes to, like, my girlfriend was having issues with the guy she's seeing, and she brings it up to me, and I was like, well, he's right. Like, what if he thinks this way? Like, have you thought about it this way? Maybe he's chilling and he doesn't have time to go on his phone because he's busy, like, in the studio. Like, have you thought about that? And she's like, why do you always think about the other person? I'm like, well, you're never going to get to an understanding if I just validate your existing emotional reaction to things.
Yeah.
And so in my friend dynamics, I often play that role, but in my family, by the way, is just me and my parents. I don't have any
Yeah.
siblings. And the funniest thing is, like, when I go back home and I notice, like, they're kind of, like, bickering at each other, which, you know, they've been married for, like, 40 years.
Yeah.
That's going to happen, right?
For sure.
My mom would come and tell me something. She'd be like, don't tell your dad. I mean, if you tell him, don't tell him I told you. And then I go talk to him separately.
Yeah.
And then 2 days later, she's like, Reza, what did you say? I've been saying this to him for years and he never listens, but for some reason he listens to you. And then he gives me a message back and I have to figure out and filter it and how to say it to my mom. So in that family, I'm a successful peacemaker.
Yes, yes.
But
You know how to maneuver very well in that dynamic.
And
Yeah.
I'm an only child with two parents, so like maybe that's why.
Yeah.
Right? You're the therapist. So.
Yeah, I mean, that is an interesting role, of course. And often it's more of a mature relationship with your parents because,
Yes.
you know, you're almost like a third adult in the family with them. So they probably trusted you with things that maybe they wouldn't share if there were 3 other siblings that they're all kind of busy with. Yeah. But it's interesting to see that play out on TV and to hear that that's a role that you often take. You know, you can see that kind of sensibility in you. And I don't know, maybe it was a scene set up by production, whatever, but you could see that you were comfortable in that role of like, come on guys, like, you know, and you were the one like sitting down and having the one-on-ones with Sky and trying to help her to see things from another perspective and try to bring people back together. So maybe there's a little bit of a therapist in you as well.
Maybe. I mean, honestly, like after Palm Springs, I texted her. I think Golden Nessa texted her too, but obviously she didn't want to hear from Golden Nessa 8 hours after almost being punched in the face.
Yeah.
And so, and I didn't, you know, offend her like Golden Nessa did. So I think she just naturally like was like, I want to talk to Reza. He's the only guy I want to talk to. And I'm still very, very close to Tanian, and I know that they had like such a long relationship. And this is kind of why, I mean, hopefully if season 2 happens, I think things can only go up from here because our friendships are much deeper and we're much closer. And so I didn't push them as hard individually as I probably could have. But because of the time, I didn't feel as comfortable as I, like with my best friend, the example I gave you, I could tell her exactly how I feel with zero filter and she's not going to get upset or offended or whatever. But like, you know, Sky, I can't be super real. Now I can be a little bit more, but not at that time. So that kind of limits your peacemaking capabilities.
Yes, that makes sense. Is there anything that you wish they'd shown that might have given even another perspective on you or your relationships with the cast? Yeah,
I mean, I guess now I've seen it all, so I could reflect on it. I mean, I'm not I'm very happy with they're an amazing team, and I know when they're making decisions, it's for the betterness of the entire show, and so whatever they do, I trust, and I'm very happy with how the show came out, all in all.
Yeah.
But I do think there's a lot of like, I'm very close to Amir and Greg, and for different reasons. Like Greg is more of like, if I need business help, buying a house, I know, don't get mad at me, Reza and Grace, but if I need, I don't know, just anything to do with like finances and like business and kind of like harder, like masculine kind of decisions, I go to him.
Okay.
And he just knows his shit. Amir is kind of like the sensible, you know, he just gets it. And I go to him, like, forget filming, like for the past, like whatever, 6 months, like that relationship has grown, and a lot of it happened on camera that didn't show. So I think that's a part of what I would have liked to show more.
Yeah.
And there were some other things that were completely cut, but
Okay.
that's okay.
Well, we did also see a little bit of you dating at the start.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. Were there more dates that were filmed along the way that maybe didn't make it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, not with the first two.
Okay. Yeah.
Which is why I said it was like completely cut. So
Okay.
like, you wouldn't even know who it is.
Wow, interesting.
But it's okay because honestly, let's be real. It wasn't that interesting.
Okay.
So I get it.
And maybe it wasn't necessary for the rest of the story when there was so much going on and you were involved in the dynamics and the relationships rather than just like what you're doing on the side.
Yeah. And it's a little tough because I don't have a partner to be able to go back and forth with and what have you. And so a new person, a new energy is also hard to like fold in to a group dynamic. So I'm kind of like, I mean, also I live in Laurel Canyon, by the way, which is, I don't know how familiar you are with the geography here, but Laurel Canyon is what I consider the valley adjacent.
Okay.
Because it's one town or whatever, neighborhood, before you get to Studio City, which is technically the valley.
Okay.
And that's kind of the role I play in the group dynamic. So.
Yes, interesting. Like just outside of...
But close enough to hop on over and then go back to my own single crazy island.
Yeah. They did say that you lived in, like they put a thing at like your house that, am I dreaming that they said you lived in Hollywood?
Yes. You're not dreaming.
Oh, they just put that in there.
Yeah.
Okay. Living the party boy lifestyle in the hills. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it is technically West Hollywood Hills.
Okay.
So if you go up Crescent Heights, that turns into Laurel Canyon Boulevard, right? You go up from Sunset.
Yep.
And then once the hill goes down, that's the valley. Ah. So I'm on the hill going up.
Okay.
So technically it's West Hollywood Hills. On the right side, near where we are right now, that's Hollywood Hills.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, close enough.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So would you do anything differently if you were looking back over? Would you do anything differently this season?
This last season? I mean, yes and no. So like, no, because... You know, when you, especially as a first year, you're like going through it, like something happens, you said something, you didn't do something, or you did this, or you didn't do something. And like, I would always think like, shit, I wish I didn't say that. And then I'm like, wait, was that authentic to me? If the answer is yes, then you've done it right.
Okay.
And majority of the time, 99% of the answer was yes. So no, I don't regret what I did or didn't do. But I'm certainly excited, again, if we get season 2, because... there's a ton more than what people have seen.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to like share that on a more intimate level.
Yep. Oh, I'm excited to see it. And, you know, fingers crossed that there is going to be a season 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. I can't see why there wouldn't be. Would you, like, are you someone generally that overthinks, or are you able to let things go quickly?
This is a therapy question.
Yeah, sorry, can't help myself.
It goes in waves.
Okay.
At some points, like I can really let things go easily.
Yeah.
But then there's some topics that I'm like, and overthink. And so honestly, it just depends on what day you catch me on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I think this is really interesting for somebody who is now, you know, very much in the public eye. You know, you're on a show, it's not just in the States. This is an international show. People are watching you everywhere where there's streaming apps. Even in Melbourne, Australia. So, you know, that can be a complicated thing to have to manage when you start thinking about, the impression you make on viewers and people's opinions. And I can't imagine you'd be getting many negative comments. I feel like the fans would be all love for you. Is that pretty much right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm also just not that polarizing.
Yeah.
Right? You have some folks on the show that are a bit more.
For sure.
And I think they know that.
Yeah.
And they kind of like, they expect it. I don't know if they expect the volume, but I think me in general, I'm not as... But I've also been a content creator for, 5, 6, 7 years. And being in that space comes with a lot of like negative comments. So I'm used to that. But like, I don't know, maybe in the future, if they pin me on something that like really isn't true, I might get held up on it and not be able to like let it go. But I tend to be able to. But it's crazy though, isn't it? Like, I'm just thinking about it. There's so many positive messages. Like, you post something and there's like 500 comments and like 498 of them are like, "You're amazing. I love the show. You're such a great addition." And like, oh, okay. And I remember something that I really held on to was this guy, and I don't know who it was, but some reality TV person, they were like doing a recap of the series. And like the last slide of it was, "Why Reza? Why is he here? No real storyline."
What?
I was like, what?
Oh my God, that's terrible.
And like that day, like there was another post that was like, "You're the greatest addition to the show. We watched the show because of you." And there's like tens or hundreds of comments like that. But the only thing I could think about was that one post.
Yes.
What the hell?
I know. This is what our brains do to us, though.
They linger on the negative.
100%.
Yeah.
We could have 10,000 positives, and then if there's one little negative, that's the only thing we hear and we focus on. And that's like the work. You know, you got to put in the work to filter all that out. But that's just a normal human reaction. That's okay.
Great.
Yeah, you're okay.
Okay.
And you're very much a welcome addition.
Thank you.
And you bring so much joy and lightness and fun. I remember even just seeing some of your content, because I was at BravoCon, I think I told you, in November. And we saw the preview and we were just like, oh my God, this looks so good. And like, as a long time Bravo fan, you know, sometimes the new shows we get a bit prickly with. We're like, who are all these newbies? Like, that's not, you know, I don't know if I'm ready for a new Vanderpump, for example, or like whatever.
They got a season 2.
Yeah. So, you know, like, exactly. But like, sometimes the fans can take a little while to warm up, but I feel like with your show, everyone was just like, bang, straight away. Oh, this is so good. And it just feels so nourishing. Like, there's just so much in it that you just enjoy. But I was going to say, I saw you in it and I started looking at your content and I could just immediately see like there is so much joy and fun and lightness and a cheekiness to like some of the stuff that you create. And I think that really comes through on the show. So I can't see how the fans are going to turn on you unless you do something. But you shouldn't. There's plenty of time for that.
But you know what's interesting about that is up until the show, majority of my content are character driven.
Okay.
Like my Persian dad or dating, or like, yes, it's based on real life, but very exaggerated, or like my dating a Persian guy series or dating a Persian girl series. They're just like real data, but like exaggerated, but they're all character driven. Like I'm not speaking as Reza Jackson, I'm speaking as whatever, my dad. And so watching the show and being on the show and being able to be me, which is what you're seeing right now, and like seeing that some of the bits were actually funny. Like, I'm a pretty funny guy. And it was like, that was my biggest learning, at least from me specifically, was like, okay, you know, Reza, like you can be funny too. You don't always have to be a character and wear a wig. And, you know, I plan to like double down on that.
Amazing.
And it's helping with the confidence, which is an odd area to find confidence in. It's very nuanced.
Yeah, but like that's what these shows do, right? They make you reflect, well, they should, hopefully. When you're watching it back, you reflect on yourself. And some people might not like what they see and how they treat their partners and how they're behaving and interacting with people. And then there'll be lessons for everybody. So the fact that you can take something away from that and turn it into like, okay, that's something I can work on in terms of my own confidence and like feeling comfortable in my own skin to just be me and like shed the character a little bit. Like, that's awesome. Amazing. Anything else you've like reflected on?
I'm trying to think. Like,
I mean, maybe you need to work on like the welcome spread when you have guests over.
it's I do need to work on that.
Okay.
But listen, all the people that had good spreads, it was their partner, like their wife, that did it.
Yes, of course.
Right?
Yeah,
like, come on. You don't see Greg putting a spread like that.
No. Yeah.
I mean, a lesson that I have learned is like seeing intimacy and like relationships and partnerships and what the pros and cons.
Yeah.
Like what the,
Yeah.
what can go wrong and what can go really well. And I've just like, it seems so weird to say this. I'm 36, but like I've been very viciously single for 90% of my life.
Yeah.
And so this show and these people are exposing me to both the beauty and the darkness of relationships, but mostly beauty. And that makes me, even more want to retire.
Interesting. Well, I was going to ask you about that. You did claim to be a retiring
Thank
playboy.
you for the correct assessment.
Yes, like not quite retired, but like on the way to retiring. One of the things, and I've spoken to another little playboy on Bravo about this. Sorry if that's offensive to call you
Playboy's
that. I'm joking.
Just don't say the F boy.
Yeah. A single person enjoying being single.
You can call me a playboy.
Okay, great.
A single person.
A single
My
person.
pronouns are single and person. You have to be that careful.
Okay. So I talked to him about like there are some dangers about entering the Bravo universe as somebody who is enjoying that life, because the risk is that for a lot of boys, men in this sphere, it can become then like a decade later and we're still exactly the same as we were.
Oh,
and things don't change and the Peter Pan syndrome kicks in and suddenly you've got like an array of fans from around the world and the DMs are flooding and it becomes even harder to settle down. So I think that may become complicated for you, with this even more public life that you have now.
That's funny. Just Reza is on my ass about this.
Is he?
Yeah, because he's like retiring. Wait till this airs.
Yes.
He's like, talk to me after it airs. We'll see how much you want to retire, man. And so he gets it. He's like, listen, you need to give yourself at least like a 2-year run.
Yeah. And
then, whatever. But like, I mean, I can't speak for the future state of like, if... hot, famous female celebrities are throwing themselves at me.
Who are you to say no? Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, I also wasn't not getting any DMs before the show aired. So it's not like I'm going from 0 to 100 and now I'm like a little kid who all of a sudden has a lot of money, whatever, like use that analogy, and doesn't know what to do with it, and you're buying all these like really expensive things. I might have gone from like 60 to 70.
Okay. Yeah.
But like, yeah.
That may change.
I'm not as scared. Yeah. But it's definitely in the back of my mind.
Because is it something that like, do you want to have a family and all of that down the line? Yeah.
100%. I want to have a family and I want to have kids. I want to have multiple kids.
Okay.
And I don't want to do it at 50 years old.
Okay. Well, okay, the window's closing, Reza.
No, it's 14 years. That's a big window.
That's true. No, but I think that's good advice from OG Reza, because, you should enjoy yourself, You've worked hard to get to this place. You've been dancing your whole life to get to this moment.
Yeah, I've been moonwalking. So many moonwalks to get here. My feet hurt. You need a foot massage.
Your toes are burned to a crisp. You need to, enjoy it while you can. But just let's check back in like 5 years and make sure. Because I like the way that Reza talked about like how he didn't want to be some like, how did he describe himself? When he's like, thank God for Adam, because otherwise I would have been like, like driving around in Hollywood, like talking about my glory days. And, he had, as if you were watching it too, he had a lot of struggles with this and had a lot of people in the DMs and had a lot of options and was also trying to be settled. And I think that was an interesting thread to follow throughout the previous version of the show. And so to see Reza now as like a sort of more calm, settled relationship man, it's a new version for him. So I think he's actually the perfect person to be giving you advice on how to kind of navigate this world. But the Bravo fans can be intense, you know? So you just need to be prepared for that. Yeah.
I like intensity.
Okay.
Bring it on.
Okay. All right. So this is interesting. I feel like you're in a really sweet spot at the moment, and like it feels like everything has kind of fallen the way that it was meant to for you. What does, say, the next 5 years look like for you in your mind?
I have a lot of dreams and visions. I think to take a step back, I got let go from my job, maybe for a full-time job, I think like 4 or 5 months ago. And it was in October that I decided to go into content full-time, which then has different sort of outputs of where I want to go. You know, acting is one of them, stand-up comedy is another. And then I think ultimately a sort of goal of mine is Mario Lopez kind of broadcasting.
Amazing.
Or like Jimmy Fallon. So kind of like that's the long-term vision. And these are all the baby steps and trial and errors to get there. But definitely camera. Yeah. Let's go.
I mean, you hate a camera.
Ew, gross.
Yeah, I did tell you, they're going to be 3 cameras. You're like, you're speaking my language.
Well, no, we do a lot of these podcasts on Zoom or whatever. Yeah. And I like in person, not only because of the camera quality, but because like you can actually engage. Yeah. Not COVID style. You know?
Yes, exactly. Exactly. And unfortunately, being on the other side of the world, most of my podcasts are Zoom style. So I'm so glad we got to do this in person. Can we expect a podcast from you anytime soon?
Oh, I forget, like my own podcast? Yeah. Maybe. That's another one of like the branches of the tree. I don't want to launch a product or a podcast prematurely. Like I don't want to do it because I'm on a show. Yeah. Like if you look at like Paige DeSorbo, like her podcast is crushing it. Why? Yeah. Because it's not on the crux of just Summer House. Yes. Maybe they talk about Summer House, but like that show is relatable to a Bravo audience and a wider audience. Yeah. And so I don't want to launch something until I land on that thing that has the same potential reach or relatability.
Smart. Really clever.
But soon. I don't know how soon. But
okay,
soon.
I like this. But I think this is the tricky part of being a creative person is you've got so many ideas and interests and passions. It can be hard to kind of know where to channel it sometimes. And like you could do 1,000 things and probably do them all really well, but it's like how do you give like laser focus to one thing? And maybe you don't have to choose one. Maybe there will always be many arms to your, tree. So I think that's really clever to just take your time and see where the chips fall.
Yeah, I think one at a time, right? Like there's a time and place for everything. Yeah. Like I just started acting classes next week. So I think this is time for that. Yes. And then through that, I might do, whatever, 2-3 months and be like, you know what, I actually don't like this at all. Or I'm not good at it. Or I'm good at it and I like it. Whatever the outcome is. Yeah. But I think there's a world where your strengths can all play together. Absolutely. And I think particularly in today's age, you can do reality, you can be an actor, you can be a content creator, you can write a book, you can have a podcast, you can do everything. Mm-hmm. Where before you sort of had to pick a lane, and now I feel like the world is your oyster. Yeah. I exciting. Love oysters. Do you? Can't wait to see where this all goes. How are we going for time? We've got a couple more minutes. So in terms of like supporting you and getting behind you, what is the best thing for people to do? Honestly, just follow me on Instagram, TikTok. Reza_JAX is Instagram, and then TikTok is Reza Jackson. Okay. That's my goal is just to deliver a good content that people like and can relate to. It's so funny. Like you're posting regularly. I love, like nothing makes me happier than funny videos because like we all need a reprieve. There is so much scary shit happening in the world right now. And I love how passionate you are about your home country, if we can call it that. I was just going to say that. I think that's one thing, support that, but also continue to raise awareness about what's happening in Iran. Yeah. Because shit is going down, and I think the less it becomes top of mind, the more those people in power can take advantage of the situation. And so if we continue talking about it, then it'll continue to be at the forefront of people's minds where action can actually happen. So to do that, should people, if you're posting something about it, can we be resharing? Is that like the best thing? Reshare. Just to get eyes on everything? Talk about it. Okay. That's it.
Yep. Well, I'm very happy to do that here. And I'm so grateful for your time. This has been so much fun.
Oh,
Loved having you. And I can't wait to see what happens next because I just feel like you're going to be around for a while.
Imagine I see you in 5 years, come to the podcast with 5 girls. What's up?
Yeah.
It's like, wow, you went completely the other way.
Yeah, Reza, remember what we talked about last time?
Yeah. Love? What's love, man?
I don't need a family.
A family? This is my family.
That's it. Oh my God, please don't do the Charlie Sheen. Like, let's
No.
Oh, Reza, thank you so much. Chat with you soon.